Well, good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cando's NRCan presentation on mining opportunities for Indigenous communities in New Brunswick. Wali exit bog ni Delawisi Anita boy like Metabanagi ag Megamag Nation Delayawi, Wiki New Brunswick. My name is Anita Boyle, and I am the certification coordinator for Eastern Canada. I live in New Brunswick, and I'm from the Metabanagi Mi'kmaq Nation. Joining me today is my colleague and Western counterpart, Carmel Nepus. Carmel is from the First Nation. Is it Sunshine?
No, it's Samson Cree Nation located in Musquecheese, Alberta.
Yeah, my apologies, in Alberta. And our communication director, Paul Macedo. It is my pleasure to introduce our presenter today. We want to, of course, thank NRCan for funding our project. And our presenter today is a gentleman that's very well versed and experienced in mining and opportunities for Indigenous communities. Allow me to present you Jean-Louis Causse. He is an economic geologist who started his own mining consulting firm in 2007. After 25 years spent in Aboriginal affairs and Northern development, he specializes in mineral evaluation, such as ECDEF, specific land claims for use studies, net and financial benefits, the Indian Act and regulations. Jean-Louis has more than 30 years experience in geoscientific surveys, mineral inventories, mineral royalty calculations, research and advice provided for First Nations in traditional and provincial lands. As manager of natural resources at ANSI, he developed consultation and informed consent strategies and assisted First Nations in maximizing their benefits to satisfy their environment and economic development needs when moving towards self-reliance. With that, I present Jean-Louis Causse.
Thank you, Anita. I just want to add that I was lucky to work in the field in New Brunswick along the Pissikut and the Miramichi River. Very nice area. I enjoy very much my work there as a young geologist. Good morning, everyone. This morning I will make a presentation on the opportunities in the mining sector in the different communities of New Brunswick. What we will talk about is mainly to try to share examples of business opportunities in a very simple language, and I will provide some insights for this sector. The presentation outline is mainly opportunity for jobs, businesses, and agreement that were signed between different communities and the province or mining company. We'll go through the life cycle mining and the economic development opportunities for the communities, and we will talk about some ECDEV officer opportunities in the sector. And as you can see, the mineral explore mainly because our society is dependent on minerals, and we could just look at the metals, for instance, copper for the electrical wire, zinc, that's galvanized steel. Your car are not rusted because we have zinc, gold for jewelry, and rare earth elements for electronics. And it's very, very important these days because those rare earth elements are coming mainly from China. Aluminum for transportation, it's very light. Gypsum, you know, gyprock, and we use it for your wallboards in your houses. If we talk about gravel for highway and building foundation, granite for the facing of the building, and limestone to make cement. If I why to talk about mining and the importance for the First Nation people. It's mainly because that was used since a long, long time, and it's very important for the culture. The four reasons that we can see is mainly to talk about jobs and contracts. The mining sector is a certain employer of First Nation people in Canada. Numerous agreements signed between the First Nation and the negotiation of significant benefits. The mines are all across New Brunswick and Canada, and also the mining sector is not very well known, and not too many people visit the mine. If we talk about employment, and you have a lot of First Nation people working for the mines. If we look at the Canada employment, more than 700,000 jobs are in the mining sector. In New Brunswick alone, you have more than 6,000 people working in the mines or the mining sector. That represents 12% of Canada labor force, and those jobs are in general very attractive and spread all over Canada or New Brunswick. As you can see, those different pictures here that goes from the underground driller to people with heavy equipment. Typical jobs in the mining sector, we have more than 160 different mining jobs. That goes from the exploration to the mine or even a reclamation at the end of the operation of the mine. In a mine working area, you have, sure, as we said, miner, driller, heavy equipment operator. For the mill and the shop, you have people working as a technician. You have officer student in the secretariat, or geologists, engineers, or even accounting people. For the camps, exploration camps, we need kitchen, people in the kitchen, cooks, and even repairs experts. For the roads, we have to think about snow removal. You have even people working in exposing, some expertise in that. That means a lot of jobs are there. If we look at the contracts, the goods and services, and for the goods, that goes from food to lumber to even pickets when we do the geophysical surveys. For the services, that goes to the environmental monitoring, snow removal, road maintenance, and transportation. If we talk about the contract in general, the mining company likes to contract local, and they will use the Indigenous company as much as possible. That means you have economic development opportunities there. Regarding the salaries, it's the best sector, in fact, industrial sector for the salaries. The mining average weekly earnings are more than $2,000 in 2020, which is quite interesting. Regarding the jobs, one in every 29 jobs in Canada are in the mining sector. Regarding the First Nation people and the labor force, is 12%. When you have a mining activity in your area and you have a economic development potential there, benefits to negotiate with the mining company. And many agreements have been signed all across Canada. And one of the well-known is the first one on the top of the list here, impact and benefits agreement. You have to negotiate not only jobs, contract, but also training and all other kind of benefits. It's good when you have to negotiate this kind of agreement to have some people with expertise in that field. And you can see that in New Brunswick, you have some of them that have been signed. To be ready, if you believe that some mining company are doing exploration in your area, don't wait to have a shaft and a mine opening to be involved. That means you need to train and to have people ready for the kind of the new jobs that will be open in your area. And we can see that the New Brunswick Community College is doing a good job in the Bathurst area. They started in 2012 to have an underground core mining training program for First Nations. 12 people were trained there from the First Nation, 6 First Nations of the area. They had another one in 2017 where they opened the first specialized training center for the mining and drilling sector. And that was funded through the college, community college, that put $265,000. The New Brunswick province put $1.3 million, and the federal put $185,000 through business development program. In 2019, they had a special course for Palino First Nation prospector when they were trained in that field. When we look at the geological map and the mines and exploration project in New Brunswick, we can see we have 2 areas. The northern part near Bathurst, we have a metallic mine there, and the southeast part where you have more non-metallic mineral mines. We'll talk about that in detail later on. Regarding the money spent in exploration and the deposit appraisal, New Brunswick has been about, for 2021, more than $17 million, almost $18 million spent in exploration. Exploration at the first stage of the mining sector, deposit appraisal, and when you start to have something that is very interesting and maybe economical to open a mine. When we look at the top 10 mineral projects in Canada, we have a long list here, and we just do that very quickly. And Canada is number 1 regarding the gold production. Second, iron ore. Gold everywhere in Canada, more or less. Iron ore is only Quebec. Coal, it's mainly the prairies and BC. Copper is all over. Potash, it's the prairies. You used to have some potash mine in New Brunswick, and we'll talk about that. Nickel, sand and gravel, diamonds, it's mainly the northwestern areas, stone everywhere, and platinum too. We can say that about 60 different minerals are extracted from the soil in Canada through 200 mines. And you have a lot of quarries, more than 6,000 quarries regarding sand, gravel, and stone. And all that was about $48 billion. That's a lot of money. When we talk about the benefit generated by the mining industry in New Brunswick, we mentioned already that we have more than 6,000 jobs, and the exploration and the deposit appraisal expenditure about 12 million, and mineral development 24, for a total value of $373 million. So that's the value of the production of minerals in New Brunswick. Where the potential area are located, in general, they are located for the metallic mineral, mainly in the Bathurst area. For the non-metallic minerals, they are located in the Sussex area, regarding potash, limestone, salt, and silica sand. You have also peat moss, that is more or less in the Acadian Peninsula and East Miramichi area. And I can say that the mining sector is not very well known, and not even in general, not taught in school. That is why we try to go through that life cycle of mining. And we have First Nation business opportunities all over those different phases. Okay, we used to talk about the mine, but before the mine, we have a lot of work done and a lot of money invested to find a mine. And that where, in general, the bulk of the jobs and contracts reside. And fortunately, exploration is a very discreet or secretive kind of business, because people, as long as they don't have secured the mineral rights, so they don't want that anybody else to take the mining claims, which are the mining property, before they get a chance to get it. We will start with prospecting, mineral exploration. When you have a good result in the prospecting, you go to mine development in underground if you believe that you have an ore body that might be economical. If everything is right and positive, you get a mine in operation, and at the end of the depletion of the ore body, you have to close and reclaim that mine site. How does that work? The role of the province is very important because they own the mineral rights. It means if you want to obtain the mineral rights, anybody can do that from their basement now. It's very easy to do. Before, you used to go in the field and stake a mining claim with posts on the four corners. It's not anymore the case. You can stake a mining claim directly on the website and through the NDE claims site or electronic mineral claim acquisition system. It's very easy. Anybody can do that, and very quickly. You obtain the mineral rights with mining claims, and if you take several of them, that we call that a mining property. If you have a mining property, you have to go to the next stage, which is to do some work on your mining claim if you want to keep them in good standing. If you want to keep them in good standing, you have to do some geoscientific reports and maps, and you have to file them at the Ministry of Natural Resources. And when you file them, they are becoming public, and if they are public, you can access that information from your computer without any problem, going to the Geological search tool. And you have a database there with a lot of information. The department also issues permit for the mine development and the mine itself. For the safety also, you have also to provide a reclamation plan for the mining property and to put a bond to be sure that you put some money aside to be able to reclaim the mine site when the ore body is depleted. For the federal roles, we have the federal that administer the mineral rights on reserves, and you cannot stake a mining claim, for instance, on the reserve. And the federal also is involved in environmental assessment for the mines, and also as soon as you have navigable waters or you need explosives, that will be under the federal administration or legislation. This map on the right shows you all the different First Nation communities in Brunswick, and they are all over Brunswick. And we were talking about mining claim. That means when you stake a mining claim, you own 100% of the mineral rights. And you can see that in the Bathurst area, south of Bathurst, you have a lot of activity there. Each claim is an economic development potential area. And you have another one in the southwest corner of New Brunswick. And if we go to the claim, the mining claim that you cannot stake or you are not allowed to stake is on the Indian reserve or in a park or special protected area or a study area that was put aside by the government. You can stake mining claim on private land, which is very interesting, but the problem is we have more regulation there, and the problem is even worse because the mining company are avoiding private land because it's very difficult to have a farmer that accepts you bring your big drill in the middle of the corn field to try to investigate a target that you found. If we go through the mineral exploration path, and that is the first part of the cycle, first you start with the geology and prospecting. That means you check the rocks. you might go to geochemical survey. In that case, you take a sample from either the soil or from the bed of the rivers. Everything is positive. You can narrow down your target through geophysical surveys, and if everything is still positive, you can go and drill that target, or we call that anomaly or conductive zone. Prospector, that's people that in general are able to discover many new showings, mineralized showings, and based on that, that interesting rock that they just found, they can try to option their property. You can be a prospector in New Brunswick just by buying a prospector's license for $100, and it's a one-time fee. The prospector will love to go in the field and follow the logging roads and follow the creeks to find the new showings. In general, they spend their own money. They do gold panning to concentrate the heavy minerals, because metallic minerals are heavier than other minerals. The last point here is something very interesting regarding the economic development opportunities. Prospector can option that mining property they stake because they found a nice rock and with some mineralization. And what they do, they go to a mining company and ask to negotiate an option to allow the mining company to own a percentage of the mineral rights. The prospector owns 100, is ready to let go 10% for 100 or $200,000 of exploration done by the company. The beauty of that option is the fact that the prospector just created a job for himself and for the rest of his family, because that option allowed the prospector to be the first one to have any contract that the company is ready to award. That means you can do the line cutting, you can do geological, geophysical survey yourself. And if one day a mine is open on that mining property, the prospector has negotiated a net smelter return. They can ask 1 or 2% of any gold or copper or zinc that is extracted from that mine, even if he is not working on it anymore since a long time. The second option is to sell outright that mining property, but he is losing 100% of the mineral rights if he's selling it. Okay, what the prospector has to do when he has his mining claims picked and he was able to secure the mineral rights, he has to do some assessment work on it. So because in general, you have to keep the money property in good standing, you have to spend some money each year and in exploration, and that work is called assessment work. And in general, you have to do some mapping, some geological or geophysical survey. And I just want to mention 3 different rocks that you will see in the report if you start to look at the report we are talking about. The igneous rock, granitic, and the most important are volcanic rocks. And you will see quite often in the documents greenstone belt, which are the volcanic rocks because they are green in general, and they have a very good potential for metallic minerals, those volcanic rocks. Another kind of rock are sedimentary rocks, and in general they are sandstone or limestone, and the potential is good for oil and gas and potash or salt. In the southeast part of New Brunswick, you have a lot of potash there. And the third one is a metamorphic rock, or we call that the mains, one of them called the mains. And that rock, in fact, has been under pressure or heat and has been transformed. And there used to be maybe granitic or volcanic rock or sedimentary rock, but transformed by the heat and the pressure. If we look at a bedrock geology map of New Brunswick. We already talked about that quickly, but you see that the western part of New Brunswick has a lot of green, like the greenstone we were talking about, and the pink or the granite. That means this area has very good metallic mineral potential, and you have another one in the southwest part of New Brunswick where you have also a very nice potential for metallic minerals. Sometimes you're not able to do geology or geophysical survey right away, but in New Brunswick, if you don't have too many outcrops to prospect, you will go for geochemical survey, and we just want to show you those two maps on the top and the bottom maps are the same kind of survey, geochemical survey. You take some soil sample, and you see the result of the bottom part is quite interesting. You have a red area, but the top part is even better. In fact, the bottom part is an old mine. The top part is a new area that will not too much explored. That means you still have areas where you don't see the rocks, where you have a good potential. Let's say you were able to narrow down the area, but to do that, in general, you need, if you have a large mining property, you will have to do an airborne geophysical survey. This survey is allowing you to take readings of the magnetism of the rocks, and you can also do EM or electromagnetic survey. And those two surveys give you some information regarding the possibility to have in the ground something that is conductive, or we call that an anomaly. And what is conductive? It's can be copper, zinc, iron, things like that. And that is why when we have an anomaly caught by the airborne survey, we have to go in the field and cut lines, the baseline and the cross lines, and take readings on each line, on each picket. And you see the readings on the left and the far right are quite flat. The only two lines with some nice response are the lines in the middle. And that means the shoulder of the reading tell you where the ore body might be, or the vein might be, and also give you an indication to know the direction that you should take to drill that ore body, because the ore body or the vein is not always vertical. On the left, you see a gentleman with cutting lines. On the right, the geophysical instruments on the back of the gentleman here, or on the vehicle. Regarding the exploration, you might need to have some people trained, or you need some help if you're a prospector. And if you are a prospector, you have access to some assistance program, exploration assistance program in New Brunswick. And one is a prospector assistance program, the other one is junior mining company assistance program. And the third one is a prospector's promotion program, because prospectors need to promote their property if they want to go further in the exploration of their property. Those programs are funded in almost $900,000 were put aside by the New Brunswick Department of Natural Resources and Energy Development. That means you have access to this money. And when you have enough money, you can go for a lot of drilling to check all the anomalies or conductive zone that you found, and you have a drill on the left here. The second picture shows you a driller removing a drill core from the tube here. Then we put them in the core boxes. In the core boxes, you have the geologists that are making a description or a logging of the core that has been extracted. And at the end, the selection of some section by the geologist will be cut and put let's say half of them in the core box and the other part will be sent for assay to see how much gold, silver, copper, or zinc you have in the core. When you do exploration, you have also right away to do, if you start to drill a lot, mainly to do an environmental assessment and the impact that you will have, and that should be done as soon as possible. You might have the federal and provincial that are involved in those EA or environmental assessment, and if they can, they will do that in a single cooperative EA on the unit. Regarding the environmental impact, you have to also to look at the mitigation aspect. You have also to write or develop a closure plan to be sure that you will be able to rehabilitate the site. We have some guidelines provided by PDAC, Prospector Developer Association of Canada, very interesting. And at that stage, you start to have public consultation and accommodation, and you have to do the baseline environmental study as soon as possible. And during that period, you have also participation of the community regarding opportunities. After the provincial, you have also a federal environmental assessment process, and you have the chart here. And I just want to mention that used to be the Canadian Environmental Assessment Act, and that recently they replaced that by the new one, that is the Impact Assessment Act in 2018. Regarding environment, you have to do a lot of baseline studies or surveys, and you might need to have sometimes not only for the exploration but also for the environmental study of the surface water, fish and wildlife, some large camps like this one, and that's also another economic development opportunity. Some First Nation in New Brunswick started some initiative, and the first one that I want to talk about is the Maritime Aboriginal People Council, in collaboration with the Nova Scotia Native Council and the PI Native Council and the New Brunswick Aboriginal People Council, and also federal entities like Fisheries and Environmental Canada, and they try to implement, they try to propose a preferred path in the implementation of the Species Act in the Mi'kmaq area. That's a good initiative coming from the First Nation there. In the mining sector, we have some people that were involved in exploration since a long time on environment. And I want just to mention two gentlemen that got the PDAC, the Prospector Developer Association Canada award. One is Hans Matthews, that is a geologist who got that award in 2020. And he was from the 180 First Nation and the president of the Canadian Aboriginal Mineral Association, Canada. And he tried to have a legal partnership between the industry and the First Nation and the industry. The other one is Jim McLeod. He got that award in 2014, and he's president of Enviro Limited and the McLeod Exploration. I mean, he's very much also involved in the environmental aspect. He founded the Mistassini Geological Resources Center, and he's also on the board of the Criminal Exploration in Canada that I was talking about. Those gentlemen are very knowledgeable. If we go to the next stage of the mining cycle, we talk about exploration now, about mine development. That means you start to have, through the exploration and drilling, some very good results. That means at that stage, you have to take some bulk sampling to do some metallurgical testing just to see if you can recoup or get 95% of the gold instead of just 60% or 70%. That means you have to do this kind of, and sometimes you have to go even underground for the mine development to be able to drill deeper. At that stage, you need to have governmental permits, and you have also to start an economic feasibility study regarding the grade, the social acceptability of the project, infrastructure, etc. And you have to raise money in general. The mining company are doing that through the stock market. When the company starts to have something interesting, they negotiate with the First Nation. In New Brunswick, 2 negotiations were done, and the agreements are the half mile mine. It's an IBA, impact benefit agreement, and was signing between the Mi'kmaq First Nation, 9 for Mi'kmaq First Nation, and the other one was a system project, and that's an accommodation agreement was signed between the 6 Maliseet First Nation and the province of New Brunswick. If we talk about development, we have one project that is going on right now for the potash. It's the Atlantic Potash Millstream project. And in that case, they already spent in exploration $4.5 million. They will have more than 900 jobs created during the operation. They will have $40 million annually during the operation, and for the wages and the salaries. And the GDP will benefit of $1.3 billion during the construction, and 193 million annually during the operation. And the taxes are about $23 million. That's for the province. If we look at the system mine development and agreement, that's an open pit mine with the tungsten and molybdenum potential, and they will have also a processing facility there. It's not too far from Frederick. About 300 jobs will be created, and what is interesting in that case, in 2017, the 6 Maliseet First Nation negotiated a share of the projected provincial royalty revenue, and in that case, it might be around 9.8%. That's interesting to know that you can negotiate something with the province. Infrastructure construction, you can see the same mine here that you will have an operation for 27 years, and just the cost for the construction and the job and also business opportunities are there, because they will spend more than $579 million just to build that mine. The only problem right now is the fact that the metals of tungsten and molybdenum, the price is low and they cannot open the mine right now. On the site also, you will have an on-site accommodation in general, and you see in that case, you also have the cafeteria and gym. I mean, there are other economic development opportunities. I was talking about showing and coppers. And if you have 1,000 property estates, you see at the end you have just one mine. If you go through that process of exploration, development, etc. That means I want to pinpoint that the job and the contract opportunity are not only during the mine operation, but way before, and that starts from the beginning. That means you will have to try to find out if you have any mining claims in your area, because they will not come to you right away. The mining companies, as I said, are very discreet, and if you call them, they might discuss with you, and you will be able to negotiate something. But in general, at the beginning, they don't try to be too much visible. In New Brunswick, you have the Cando mine in the Bathurst area, and that's the only metallic mine in operation right now. It's an underground mine with a rotational power plant, and they have 40% of the workforce, which is Mi'kmaq. And we have also the concentrate that is used, that is sent to the smelter through the Padino First Nation trucking company. In New Brunswick, you have also significant potential for potash. Unfortunately, the price has fallen sharply lately, but the Millstream and Potash Corporation used to have 3 mines. Unfortunately, they are on care and maintenance mode. The only mine in development is, as we mentioned earlier, the Atlantic Potash Millstream, and hopefully the price of potash will go up. Regarding limestone, we have plentiful of limestone of New Brunswick. Unfortunately, the high quality deposits are very limited, but you have anyway 1 million ton of limestone extracted per year, and for in general, they are located in the southeast part of New Brunswick, except one that is in the Bathurst area. Regarding the silica deposits or sandy gravel, we have one major deposit, Cassini Lake deposit, and it's a very rich deposit of sandy gravel, 20 million ton of high-grade material. That's more than 99% silica, which is extremely pure silica, which is excellent. We have also some pit moss quarry, and it's the quarries in general are along in the central part of New Brunswick into the northeast direction. And pit moss is owned by the landowner, 70% on crown lands. And the production is about, the value is about $150 million for 52 pit leases, and it's ending in 2013. If we look to the next stage, which is a mine closure and reclamation, the mine has been depleted, but now we have to reclaim the area. I have to say that in Brunswick Mining Act consider that mining is a temporary use of the land. I mean, they consider we can reclaim and use the land for something else. I just want to mention that before the new legislation, mining companies were able to leave their mine sites as without any reclamation or anything else. Now it's a responsibility of the province to do that, and you have $44 million that is being put aside for the remediation of more than 63 mine sites for 377 mine openings, and the bulk of the reclamation is done in the Minto area where you have old coal mines, very old coal mines, and that's economic development opportunities again. And just an example of this mine, the East Steel mine in the Bathurst area, and you can see that they have to remove all the building from the site. Another way to reclaim is to do a progressive reclamation during the operation. I mean, so you can reclaim the tilling sites, for instance. In that case, the example is quite interesting because the company decided to use compost to reclaim that all the tilling sites, and you can see that the vegetation is quite nice there. Another example is a bottom left here picture of an old limestone quarry in the Gatineau area in Quebec. And what we have to do is a nice casino in front of the quarry that has been flooded, and with a marina, which is one of the nicest area in Gatineau, in that city. We talk more and more about critical and strategic minerals these days. Why? Because they are used in high tech, in your computer, and in your iPhones, and energy transition, when we talk about the solar energy or the wind power, things like that. In New Brunswick, the list of those critical minerals, you have mainly the graphite that is interesting, and the only prospect that you have is the golden gold graphite prospect, not apart from St. John. Only problem is that the graphite is not of a very good quality, and that more exploration was to be done there. The Brunswick doesn't have a plan for those critical and strategic minerals yet. But rare earth elements are also, I want to mention that, the minerals that are very much in demand these days based on the fact that China is producing more than 75% of those minerals. I just want at the end to mention that unique Canadian invention with the Capital Pool Company program that was put together by the Toronto Stock Exchange, or Venture Exchange, I should say, for junior companies. It means a junior company had a problem to be listed on the stock market and raise money to fund their exploration and development. And that program has been used by more than 50% of the new listing in the past 10 years. What is it? It's a two-step process for the CPC. And the first step is an investor with a financial market experience put together with an entrepreneur, can be a prospector that has an asset. The asset is a mining property. And what the investor can do is can form a capital CPC company, even if they have no asset at that time, and list it on the stock market and raise money. The second step is seeking out for investment opportunity. In that case, it's a mining company. That means that altogether they can start to continue to be traded on the as a regular listing on the stock market and raise money. And that means the prospector is in business and able to get some money for exploration and development of this property. In summary, we can say that the involvement of First Nation increased a lot in the past 2 years. We have a share benefit or even part of the ownership from in some projects. We have involvement in the infrastructure, various agreements between the mining company, the province, and the First Nation. We have also many contracts awarded to First Nation and Indigenous companies, and we can say that the First Nation have their say regarding exploration and mine development in their traditional lands. And to finish, a lot of employment are created. In fact, we can say that if you are very lucky that your exploration and the resource definition will last 3 to 5 years, the mining permit will be 3 to 6 years, and construction 2 to 4 years. We can say that the window of opportunity is very important. If we don't open the mine if the copper price is too low, or the zinc, if you have a copper and zinc prospect, and the investment is also available, and in general is available if the price is high. I will finish with that slide regarding where you can get more information. Again, we're talking about the Department of Natural Resources and Energy Development, and they each year provide a report on the exploration, development, and mining activity in the New Brunswick. That means you have a good summary of what is going on in New Brunswick, and also you have the possibility to have some free advice and expertise from the Geological Survey branch in New Brunswick, and that's something that you should use as much as possible. That's it for my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention, and if you have any question, I'm ready to answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean-Louis. That's an extremely informative presentation, and was of great interest to me, and I'm sure some of our other participants from New Brunswick. I see some familiar names on the participant list. There is a question that has been asked by me in the chat group, and forgive my naivete when I speak of this subject, but I was wondering, can an individual enter their property PID number on the New Brunswick website and see what the mineral content could be of that area?
As I mentioned, you have the a lot of information in the province. And if you go to their site, I don't know why I have that. So you should be able. What you need to know is exactly the location of the area or the property that you are talking about. When you
Exactly.
know that, you have to enter it on their website, and you'll be surprised to see that, let's say you have some mining claims in that area. You have just to click on the mining claims, and you will have all the information on the survey done, the results of the survey or the assay, etc., etc. And that information can go back up to 100 years ago. That means if you stake a mining claim or you take a mining property on one area, that area might have been worked for 100 years before you. That means all that information is available.
Wonderful. Okay. Are there any other questions from our participants? You can unmute yourself and ask, or you could enter them into the chat box if you wish.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my name's Jonas Nash. I'm
Well done.
Indigenous. I have a welding company. I'm just wondering, for all these mines that are in New Brunswick now, how do I let them know that I'm here to help with any steel products that might be needed in the industry?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. And as I said earlier, in general, as I said, it's good to have to check to go to check the mining claims map. As I said, you have the site at the Department of Natural Resources, and if you go to that site, you will have the name of the mining company. When you have the name of the mining company, you can go to their site and you will get the contact that you can call and talk to. In general, they provide the phone number, they provide the name of the people responsible, and if you can talk to a vice president, it's even better. And if you know exactly what you want to do as a contractor, you can even propose your services right away, and they might be, if they are not too far from the community, might be ready to work with you and use your expertise as soon as possible. I just want to mention also something that I didn't say. It's you have the Prospector and Developer Association. I mentioned that name during my presentation. There is a convention in early March in Toronto, and this convention is very interesting because all the mining companies are trying to promote their mining properties. And at that convention, it's easy in general to talk to the big boss of the company because they are there to promote their property, right? And that's a place where you have access to vice president, even sometimes president of the company, because they are there and you can discuss with them. And that was to go to spend 3 days in Toronto and start to look at the map they provide and to discuss with the expert of geology that's there and to know more about their mining property and expectation regarding development of the site or things like that.
Thank you.
John, I just want also, because to give you the opportunity, I want to mention something to you. You can see that here, the Northern Miner. This is a weekly journal that provides a lot of information on the mining sector in Canada. And sometimes you'll be surprised that you have an article on your area and the mining company working there.
Excellent. Are there any other questions? Thank you. I'll just check the chat, see if anything's there. And no. And just be reminded that this session is recorded and available at the Cando website check under the Tools Mining Development drop-down tab. Any other questions? Okay, with that, we'll wrap up our webinar on mining, and we want to thank our speaker, Jean-Louis Causse, and all of you for taking time out of your day to avail yourself to this information. I'd like to thank my colleagues at Cando, and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.